Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers harassment, detainment, and disorderly conduct, and is brought to us by Blue Watch's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Fume. We all have habits we could do without. Maybe it's checking your phone every 30 seconds, biting your nails, or convincing yourself that your gas tank can go just a little farther after the light comes on. But some habits are harder to shake than others. Not because you can't quit, but because you still want something to reach for. That's where Fume comes in. Fume is a flavored air device designed as a better alternative to vaping. No nicotine, no vapor, no batteries. Just simple, natural flavor in a sleek, weighted design that feels great in your hand and is built to last. Instead of inhaling chemicals, you're simply drawing through natural plant flavors, like crisp mint, orange vanilla, or my personal favorite, spearmint ice, which is smooth, refreshing, and easy to enjoy anytime. One of the best parts is that Fume is also designed for fidgeting, with magnetic snaps, clicks, and an airflow dial that feels oddly satisfying to twist. If you're the type who likes to keep your hands busy, this is one of those little details you don't think about at first but end up loving. Plus, it's super portable. No charging, no refills, no restrictions. You can use it anywhere without worrying about smoke or vapor, making it a simple, stress-free swap. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today, and if you order the Journey Pack now using my code AUDIT, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/audit or scan the QR code on screen. Thanks again to Fume for sponsoring today's episode. On July 6th, 2022, deputies from the Cook County Sheriff's Office responded to a call about an individual taking pictures of houses in Northbrook, Illinois. Deputy Hamilton was the first to arrive on scene and located a man named Daryl Baker walking near the intersection of Walnut Circle and Cottonwood Road. Deputy Hamilton exited his patrol car and made contact with Mr. Baker, and the interaction that followed was captured on body camera.
May I help you?
What you mean, how may you help me?
Because I want to see if you lost anything.
What?
I want to see if you lost anything. You okay?
What do you want to see that for?
Because I had got a couple calls says you was wandering around here.
And I can't wander?
Yes, you can.
It's a crime for wandering?
I never said it. You're saying it's a crime for wandering.
So what's the problem?
Well, people are concerned that you here.
What people is concerned? What that got to do with me? It's a problem?
Yes, it might be a problem. People are concerned about you. They want to know.
I don't give a about these people.
Okay, but they want to know why you're in the neighborhood.
Why they don't need to know why I'm in the neighborhood. I'm in the neighborhood because I feel like I'm being in the neighborhood.
So you just feel like being in the neighborhood?
I just feel like being in the neighborhood.
So you just feel like, wandering.
I just feel like walking through the neighborhood. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Like, okay,
I can't walk through black. You black like me.
I know I'm going to walk with you.
So
we going to walk. We walking together, right?
I can't walk. What you mean?
I didn't say you can't walk.
Why you harassing me, bro?
How I'm harassing you?
Because you walk. I don't even know you, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And you just hopped out of your car asking me why am I walking through. I'm on camera, bro. The whole time I've been out here, I'm on camera.
You on camera too?
Walking through the neighborhood. So what's the problem?
I'm walking with you.
You don't gotta walk with me.
Yes, I do.
Why?
Why? You said we just walking, right?
I'm just walking.
And I'm walking too.
Why I can't walk by myself? What's the problem?
Can I ask you what's the people?
Because I feel like it.
And I feel like walking with you.
You can't. So
how can I walk with you?
Back in your truck, bro.
No,
you black, bro. You know what's going on. These on some bullshit from people. Give a down, but I look like a robber because I'm black. I like a robber because I'm black. Now I'm being harassed.
Okay,
you f***ing up my day. Your supervisor told you gotta walk. That's why you doing what you doing. And you're not even doing it because that's what you want to do. Because you're supervisor, and I'm in a rich neighborhood.
Because my supervisor know people call about you.
I'm rich.
And that's fine.
I live in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So why are you following me?
You live in the neighborhood. What's your name then?
It doesn't matter. I don't have to tell you my name.
Okay, now come on. We can stand here and just look at each other.
What you mean? I don't want you walking with me. You harassing me.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I don't want you walking with me.
And if people don't want you...
I didn't do nothing wrong. What the f*** is the problem?
Because I'm trying to figure out why are you for
Because I want to.
Okay, now I can walk.
You don't have to walk with me, though. I want to walk through the neighborhood.
You said I don't have to, but I can.
Because I feel like walking.
And I feel like walking with you. Because you want to curse, I can curse too.
That's harassing.
Nah, it's harassing with you. Did I tell this guy just walk with harassing?
What you do, bro?
I am doing what I'm doing.
Thank you.
I'm doing what I'm doing,
bro. You ain't got to follow me. Why is you following me, though?
I'm doing what I'm doing. You just said I don't have to, but I can. That's two different things like you.
Serious?
You don't have to, but you can, right?
Why are you following me?
I said I could walk with you. I could walk. I can walk too.
Tell me you can't walk with me.
Okay, fine. I just walk beside you. I just won't be with you, huh?
Yo, you harassing me, bro.
Now I'm harassing you.
Getting harassed by a black cop in a white neighborhood.
I'm trying to figure out why are you here.
Because I want to be here.
And I can walk with you, because
No,
I want to be here.
no,
Yeah, I can. I can.
No,
Yes, I can.
No, the you can't. No, the you can't walk with me because you want to walk with me. I know my rights. Call your supervisor.
Okay, I'll call him. No.
What you talking about?
Or
talking about
A236, A235. You know, Cottonwood and Walnut Circle.
13 County, I'm close. I'll be there in about 5
You ain't gonna buy me a house, you gonna buy my daughter.
You said you want to speak to my supervisor.
You harassing me.
You said you want to speak to
harassing me.
my supervisor on this way too.
You harassing me. I've been cameraed up since I came in this neighborhood.
This
Camera. Get off my.
Okay.
Get off my.
Okay.
What is you following me for? Because I'm in this neighborhood. My morning up.
It's afternoon now, sir.
Yo, stop following me, bro.
I'll let my supervisor come. You said speak to my supervisor.
So go to your truck.
I don't have to go to my truck.
I'm not valeting. I'm not on nobody.
You're totally right. I
Why
agree with
you. Is you following me,
you asked
though?
my supervisor.
Why?
You asked my
No,
supervisor,
I didn't.
right?
Bye.
Yes, you did.
Bye.
Record your camera.
Bye.
Yes, my supervisor. No.
Bye. Stop following me.
Sorry.
Stop
I don't
following
have to
me.
go to my truck.
Stop following me.
I don't have to go to my truck.
Stop following me. You don't gotta follow me. That's harassment.
No, it's not.
After failing to engage in a productive dialogue with Mr. Baker, Deputy Hamilton decides to follow Mr. Baker as he walks along the street. Mr. Baker tells Deputy Hamilton that he does not want to be followed, and that following him is a form of harassment. In general, simply following a person in public does not by itself constitute illegal harassment under Illinois law or federal law. Illinois statutes do define the term harass in certain contexts, but those definitions typically require conduct that lacks a legitimate purpose and that causes emotional distress. For example, Section 26.5-0.1 of the Illinois Criminal Code, which involves harassing communications, defines harass as, quote, knowing conduct which is not necessary to accomplish a purpose that is reasonable under the circumstances that would cause a reasonable person emotional distress and does cause emotional distress to another. In other words, harassment typically entails unreasonable, purposeless behavior that is explicitly intended to disturb others. And a single instance of following someone in public, especially by law enforcement for investigative purposes, likely would not constitute an act of harassment, at least in the criminal context. Police officers are generally allowed to follow or observe people in public spaces as part of their duty, and this is not considered unlawful harassment so long as it is for a legitimate investigative purpose. In the 1983 case of United States versus Knotts, the Supreme Court concluded that a person traveling on public roads has no reasonable expectation of privacy in their movements, and established the notion that mere visual or physical surveillance by the police in public generally does not violate the Fourth Amendment or any other federal law. Similarly, in the 1986 case of California versus Serralo, the Supreme Court further clarified that, quote, the mere fact that an individual has taken measures to restrict some views of his activities does not preclude an officer's observation from a public vantage point where he has a right to be, and which renders the activities clearly visible, meaning that so long as an officer is in a place they are legally allowed to be, then they are within their authority to take investigative actions, such as following a suspicious person. It is also important to bear in mind that at this point in the interaction, Mr. Baker has not been formally detained, and would be free to walk away from Deputy Hamilton. We will discuss whether the deputies had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. Baker in a moment, but as long as Mr. Baker remained on the public roadway, it is highly likely that a court would find that Deputy Hamilton was within his authority to follow him. Now, as Mr. Baker is ordering Deputy Hamilton to stop following him, the deputy's supervisor, Sergeant Janulus, arrives on the scene.
Yes, it is.
What's going on, boss?
I don't know. Actual cop.
Come on over here.
I don't
Talk with
gotta
me.
go nowhere.
Talk with me.
I don't gotta go talk with
Okay.
nobody. I'm talking to you right here.
Okay, what's going on?
I don't know. Ask this.
I'm asking you.
I'm
What's going
asking
on?
this.
I'm asking you.
Ask this.
We got a call.
I don't
of
know about your
suspicious-
call.
Of a
What's
suspicious
suspicious
person?
What suspicious
That's
person?
it. They
A
said
black
that-
person?
No, they
A
said they
black
were
dude?
taking
A
photos,
black?
photos
Yes, I'm
of
taking
houses.
photos. Yes.
Okay, for
yes,
what
I'm
reason?
videoing because I feel like it.
Because you
'Cause
feel
I
like it?
feel like
All right.
it.
Can I get your ID, please?
No, you cannot.
Why not?
Why do you want my? I ain't commit no crime.
I'm not saying that you did.
All
but I
right,
still
so
need
you
to
don't need
identify
my
who you
ID.
are. Yes, I do.
No, I don't. I'm not
Yes, I
committing
do.
no crime.
Yes, I do.
Got it. No, my rights.
Yeah. I need your ID.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
Man,
You're
I
not
ain't do
leaving.
shit.
Stay right
What
here.
you mean I ain't leaving?
You're not leaving.
Why? I ain't do
Because
nothing.
I still need to
I didn't
identify
do
you.
nothing. I didn't do nothing.
I don't care.
I didn't do
I still need
nothing.
to say who you
I didn't
are.
do nothing. Why you got your hand on your gun? I'm unarmed. It's two of
I'm
y'all.
standing right here.
Why the f you
I'm
got your
standing
hand on
right
your
here.
gun?
I don't.
I'm unarmed.
It's on top
I'm
of you.
unarmed.
You see the
All I'm
safety on
doing
it?
is walking.
All right.
You want to buy my daughter one of these houses? Do you want to buy my daughter one of these houses? Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Who you
Yes,
are.
you do. You don't need to know who I am.
right,
I ain't
do me a
committing no
favor. Turn
crime.
around.
My name Daryl Baker.
Okay, Daryl Baker.
What's up?
What's your date of birth?
The f is you talking about?
I'm not talking about anything. I'm right here, man.
Out my
I'm
face.
right
County
here.
does.
Stop moving.
Why is you?
Stop moving.
Listen, I don't gotta stop moving.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Why is you
I'm
detaining
telling
me?
you,
For what?
Stop.
For what?
Stop.
For what?
Stop.
For what? Man, don't touch me no more, bro. For what? I don't gotta stop moving.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. What crime did I commit?
I'm not saying you committed.
All right, so why am I stopping? Why am I detained? All I'm doing is walking through the f***ing neighborhood.
Okay.
That's it.
Now I just need to make sure that you're clear.
Listen, man,
All
I don't
right?
need, listen, man, get the f*** out my face. That's what you do. You get the f*** out my face.
I'm not getting out of your face. I'm right here, my man.
But Mr. Baker,
Listen, man, why is y'all harassing me?
Mr. Baker, he told you why we
Hey,
came
I
out
don't
talking.
care. That don't got nothing to do with me.
Yes,
I
it do,
can't
Mr.
walk through a
Baker.
f***ing neighborhood.
Baker, he
I
told you.
can't walk through a f***ing neighborhood.
You always walk through
That's all I'm doing. I'm not driving. I'm walking
Okay.
through a f***ing neighborhood.
So then what's the problem with telling us who you
Run
are?
your f***ing name.
What's the problem
Do
with
what
telling
the
us who
f*** I want to do.
Okay.
I'm a free man. I do what the f*** I want to do.
Understand that.
And I ain't f***ing scared of you.
Okay.
Or going to jail.
That's fine.
So get the f*** out my
No,
face.
I'm not going to get out of your face.
Run the f***
Stay right here.
run the name. Because you a head white boy. That's what you want to be.
That's fine. You think how you want.
Can I get some space?
No, you can't.
Man, you better get the
Stop.
f***. Yo,
Stop.
yo, run my name. Don't
Mr.
touch
Baker,
me.
Mr. Baker,
Run my
stop.
name.
Stop.
Don't
Mr.
touch
Baker.
me. Why is you about to touch me?
Mr. Baker.
Why is he about to touch me?
Mr. Baker.
What you want to do? Shoot me?
No, I don't.
That's you want to do? That's you want to do?
I just want to know why
That's
you're
you
here.
want to do because I feel like it.
Okay.
That's why the I'm here.
Okay.
What's cracking?
Nothing's cracking, my man.
So why the is you in my face?
I'm not in your
Run
face.
the name and keep it moving.
I need to make sure that
Run
you're
the
good.
name and get in that car.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Run my name and get in your car.
I'm going to wait for another officer to get
Run
in
your
car.
name and get in your car.
You're not going to dictate what I do. All right?
Yo, man.
Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker.
Yo, I'm trying to keep it moving like I've been
Mr.
doing.
Baker.
Stop.
Why are you
Stop
touching
moving.
me, bro?
Stop.
Why are you touching me?
Stop moving.
Why is he touching
Mr. Baker, you
me?
need to
Why are
stop,
you
please.
Stop
look?
moving. Mr. Baker.
Why is he
Stop
touching
moving.
me?
Mr. Baker.
Stop
moving.
touching me.
Stop moving.
His name is. See his name.
Stop moving.
See his name.
All right.
See this name.
Stop moving.
Why are you touching me?
Stop moving.
Why are you
Stop
touching me,
moving.
bro?
Stop moving.
I don't gotta stop moving. I'm not detained. Am I detained?
Right now you are being detained.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Run my fucking name.
You need to calm
I'm
down.
not
Calm
being
down.
detained.
Yes, you are being detained.
Sergeant Janulus orders Mr. Baker to stop moving and informs him that he is being detained. Section 107-14 of the Illinois Code of Criminal Procedure states that, quote, a peace officer may stop any person in a public place for a reasonable period of time when the officer reasonably infers from the circumstances that the person is committing, is about to commit, or has committed an offense, and may demand the name and address of the person and an explanation of his actions. This statute mirrors the reasonable suspicion doctrine established in the infamous Supreme Court case of Terry versus Ohio, requiring an officer to point to specific facts that led them to believe that criminal activity is taking place in order to detain an individual. As the Supreme Court explained in the 1979 case of Brown versus Texas, quote, we have recognized that in some circumstances, an officer may detain a suspect briefly for questioning, although he does not have so-called probable cause to believe that the suspect is involved in criminal activity. However, we have required the officers to have a reasonable suspicion based on objective facts that the individual is involved in criminal activity. While applying this standard, the court determined that it was a violation of the Fourth Amendment for officers to detain an individual and require him to identify himself simply based on the fact that he, quote-unquote, looked suspicious, and the officers had never seen that subject in the area before, because the officers lacked any reasonable suspicion to believe that he was engaged or had engaged in criminal conduct. Accordingly, although the doctrine of reasonable suspicion is an extremely low bar for members of law enforcement to meet, purely legal and innocent activity generally cannot be used to justify reasonable suspicion on its own, and some objectively criminal element must be present in order to establish reasonable suspicion. However, it should be noted that this does not mean that officers are required to rule out the possibility of innocent conduct in order to have reasonable suspicion. As the Supreme Court explained in the 2002 case of United States versus Arvizu, reasonable suspicion must be determined under the so-called totality of the circumstances, considering all facts together. And even if each factor alone is susceptible to innocent explanation, reasonable suspicion can still exist if, taken together, they form a particularized and objective basis for suspicion of criminal activity. Likewise, although filming and photography is protected by the First Amendment, it can still form the basis for reasonable suspicion under certain circumstances, such as when the totality of the evidence suggests that an individual might be quote-unquote casing a location for a robbery. However, based on the circumstances of this situation, it is improbable that a court would conclude that the officers had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. Baker. In the 2011 case of Jones versus Clark, the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Illinois, held that officers had no reasonable suspicion to detain a utility worker in response to a report that a quote-unquote person of color was taking pictures of houses in an almost entirely white community. Although the officers argued that they had suspicion because they, quote, thought she was casing the place, the court reasoned that the officers could not point to a single circumstance that could have led them to believe that she was engaged in criminal activity, as, now quoting, "It is not a crime to take pictures on the street." Now, while there are certainly some distinctions between this case and Mr. Baker's, as he was obviously not an in-uniform utility worker, and unlike Mr. Baker, the suspect in the Jones case immediately confirmed her identity and explained what she was doing, the underlying principle that it is not illegal to photograph houses from the streets remains applicable. As such, it would likely be extremely difficult for the deputies to prove that they had the reasonable suspicion necessary to detain Mr. Baker at this point in the encounter.
Right now.
Run my name.
I'll run it when I get another officer here. All right?
Yo, man, you is harassing me because I'm walking through your community? I'm from New York. I'm an independent contractor.
Stop.
Get the off of me. Get the off of me.
Stop.
Stop touching me. Run the name and get the out my face. Period. All I did was go for a walk. It's my day off.
You say you're from New York?
I don't give a girl. Get the out of my face.
Stop moving.
Yo,
Listen, I've already told you.
Yo, run my name.
Stop moving.
So what you gonna do?
What do you mean, what am I
What you gonna do?
Listen, I need to make sure.
What the run the name?
I'm not going to run it until I get another officer here. You
Yo.
got it? Like I said, you're not going to dictate
I'm not
my
detained, homie.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
not a criminal.
I didn't
How
say
you
were.
detaining that's not doing a crime?
I didn't say you
How
were.
you detaining somebody that's not doing a crime? How you detaining me because I'm walking through the neighborhood? How you detaining me because I'm walking through the neighborhood?
Stop.
All units emergency.
Talking about why am I here? I'm here because I feel like it. I'm here because I feel like it.
Stop moving.
Away
I'm
from me.
telling you to stop.
What you gonna do?
Right
You gonna
now,
arrest me?
You're gonna be.
You gonna arrest
You're
me?
gonna get arrested for
You gonna arrest? I
obstruction.
don't give a.
Okay.
You illegally detaining me. You
No, I'm not.
illegally detaining
No,
me.
I'm not.
Man, run my name.
Listen, Mr. Baker.
Run my name.
Mr. Baker.
Why your hand on your gun? I'm unarmed. Your hand is on a weapon.
It's on top
Why?
It's on top of my home.
I'm unarmed. You gonna buy me a house. That's what the I'm looking for. A house. And you gonna buy it. Y'all see me looking at houses, recording, looking at houses.
Okay.
That's what the I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Pointing.
That's what I'm doing.
your finger at
I'm
me?
pointing my finger. It's a finger. You gonna shoot me?
I'm gonna say it was.
You gonna shoot me?
Is my gun out?
Is you gonna shoot me?
Is my gun out?
Shoot me.
Is my gun out?
Shoot me. You fucking racist devil. You gonna have my kids living like this. Shoot. Shoot.
Clearly, I can't talk to you.
Shoot.
You're in a little
Shoot.
agitated state.
Yeah, because your pig is harassing me. I'm walking through the neighborhood because I feel like it.
Okay. And you're agitated.
Because I fucking feel like it.
Okay.
And I'm from New York.
Okay.
I'm not from Chicago.
That's fine.
I'm an independent contractor. I'm here for work.
Okay.
All I do is remodel Walmarts. I remodel every Walmart in the city.
That's giving me more information.
So what's
I
up?
appreciate that.
Run your name
wanna
and
calm
get in
down?
your fucking cruiser. Go find a real criminal
wanna
and get
calm
off my
down?
big black
Wanna calm down?
because these racists calling police
wanna
because
calm
I'm
down?
black walking through the neighborhood in the middle of the street.
So you know why we're here?
I don't give a because I'm black.
And no.
Yes,
No.
why I'm here.
I don't
Why you
know.
here?
We got a call.
Why you
That's
here? You got a call for what?
Suspicious person.
Suspicious doing what?
Taking pictures of houses.
So what? That's illegal?
No, I'm not saying it's illegal.
So what the is the suspicion?
The suspicion?
Where's the suspicion?
It's a person suspicion.
It's a person.
My
What does that mean?
They're suspicious of somebody that's
I'm
in the
doing
neighborhood
what?
that they don't recognize.
Taking pictures.
That's it, yeah.
So what? It's a free country.
Okay.
What's my name, man? Tired of talking to you.
Okay. You're not talking. You're yelling.
Following me.
7340.
Do me a favor. Keep your hands out your
I don't
pockets.
got nothing in my. I don't got to do nothing. You gonna shoot me? Shoot me. You
1 hour.
gonna shoot me? Shoot me.
Short
Talk, man. My hands in my
regularly
pockets.
on million.
You ever heard of walking through the neighborhood black? You ever heard driving while black? I'm walking while black. Why am I being detained? Why is these niggas harassing me? Why am I being harassed?
You're not being harassed.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
I'm trying to go about my day. I was going back to my hotel.
What hotel you staying
It
at?
doesn't matter.
What hotel you staying
Doesn't
at?
matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
just trying to have a conversation
matter.
with you.
Call your backup so I can run. You can run my name so I can keep it moving. You holding me up, wasting my time. I'm trying to go about my day.
Yeah, and you're acting out of the
I'm
norm
not
right
acting
now.
nothing.
Yes,
I'm not
you are.
acting nothing.
Why are you so agitated?
I'm agitated.
Really?
I'm agitated.
How are you agitated?
How?
Yelling, motherfucking everybody.
I can mother. I can yell.
Okay. All right.
I can mother.
Is that normal behavior?
Is that a crime?
Is that normal
Is
behavior?
it a f***ing crime?
Is it normal behavior
Is it a
for you?
crime?
Well, I just gotta make sure you're
Is
good,
it a
man.
crime?
Not saying
Am I committed a crime?
Not saying
Are you
that.
charging me with a crime?
Not saying
So
that.
leave me the f alone. Leave me alone. I didn't do no crime. I'm walking while black through the neighborhood. Leave me alone.
Please, stop walking.
I don't have to.
Stop walking.
I don't have to. I'm doing what I've been doing, walking, taking pictures.
Mr. Baker.
That's what I'm doing. I'm
Mr.
looking at
Baker.
houses. That's what I'm doing.
Mr. Baker,
That's
what
a nice house right
When was your
there.
birthday?
That's a nice house. Forest Green, that's nice.
Mr. Baker,
That's
do me a
nice
favor.
too, man.
Do me
You're
a
not
favor.
gonna
Stop
take
working.
your badge off. You're not gonna take your badge off. You're not gonna take that gun off. You're not gonna do nothing. Stop putting your fucking hands on me.
Stop. Right now you're being
You about
detained.
to shoot me?
Everything's fine.
You about to shoot me?
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's
And
fine.
You about to shoot me?
I'm not shooting nobody.
So why you got the gun on me?
That's not a gun.
Why am I being detained?
I told you
You're not
why.
going to cooperate. This is how we're going to handle this.
Absolutely. Let go of the phone.
Thank you.
You got a gun on me.
Anybody got no gun on
You
you?
got a gun on me. Take Spanish.
Yeah, okay. I know. Back this way.
Why am I got the cuffs on me?
Told you why.
Why?
You're acting erratically.
Walking while black. Walking while black. Walking, why am I going in the car for?
Because you are.
For what?
Because it's more secure area.
For what?
That's why.
Why? You gotta tell me, why am I going in this car?
Because I said safe.
I do what the I want to do.
Just
I
ask
walk
me.
through any neighborhood I want to.
Just a
I
question.
drink what the I want to drink. I smoke what the I want to smoke. I ain't on no papers. I ain't on none of your jurisdiction. Eat my
Okay.
talking about. Okay, I got 14 years in prison. You think I give a about whatever you think you could do to me?
Sit down. Sit.
You's a racist.
Walk away. That's it.
You's a racist.
I'm trying to do my
You
job,
ain't
man.
doing.
Trying to do my
You ain't
job.
doing.
Absolutely.
Go
I
look
am.
for a real fucking crime. What am I being arrested for?
Put your feet in the car.
What am I being arrested for?
Put your feet in the car.
What am I being arrested for? You doing that authority shit like I.
So here's the deal, just so you understand each other. So we understand all of this. You can sit here like this for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. Don't give a really don't. Eventually what's going to end up happening is they're going to take you in for the charge that they deem appropriate. They're going to let you know what it is, and you'll have a chance to either bond or be I-bonded.
37, go ahead.
That's what's happening.
All I was doing was walking through the
I
neighborhood.
understand that.
And they stopped me talking about you're suspicious. Suspicious of what? I'm not supposed to be angry. Suspicious of what?
You're not supposed
I'm
to
not
scream.
doing it. I'm not
You're not
screaming.
supposed to ball your fist up at people.
I'm not balling my fist.
Field Training Officer Schaefer arrives on the scene and informs Mr. Baker that he is going to jail for whatever offense the other deputies deem appropriate. The police report associated with this encounter, which was kindly provided to us by Blue Watch, states that Mr. Baker was arrested for a misdemeanor count of disorderly conduct and misdemeanor obstructing an officer. According to Section 26-1 of the Illinois Criminal Code, quote, "A person commits disorderly conduct when he or she knowingly does any act in such unreasonable manner as to alarm or disturb another, and to provoke a breach of the peace. As mentioned in many previous episodes of ATA, the Supreme Court concluded in the 1971 case of Cohen versus California that the First Amendment covers profanity, and it later held in the 1987 case of City of Houston versus Hill that, now quoting, "The First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers." In the same vein, the First District Appellate Court of Illinois determined in the 1975 case of People versus Douglas that an individual could not be convicted of disorderly conduct for screaming profanities at the police, even when he drew the attention of several other citizens. In reaching this conclusion, the court reasoned that, quote, "Arguing with a police officer, even if done loudly, will not of itself constitute a violation of this section," and that, now quoting again, "Vulgar language, however distasteful or offensive to one's sensibilities, does not evolve into a crime because people standing nearby stop, look, and listen. The state's concern becomes dominant only when a breach of the peace is provoked by the language. Additionally, when speech forms the basis for a disorderly conduct charge, the language the individual uses must rise to the level of unprotected so-called fighting words, defined by the Supreme Court in the 1942 case of Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire as, quote, "those which by their very utterance inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace." In the 2002 case of People versus Redwood, the Fourth District Appellate Court of Illinois determined that for the purposes of the disorderly conduct statute, quote, "the speaker's so-called fighting words must contain either an explicit or implied threat, and that vulgarities and epithets do not suffice to trigger the state's prosecutorial powers and criminal sanctions." Well, considering this case law and the lack of any evidence of a breach of the peace, Mr. Baker would likely have a strong defense against any potential disorderly conduct charge. However, the deputies also allegedly charged Mr. Baker with obstructing, which criminalizes the act of obstructing, now quoting, "the performance by one known to the person to be a peace officer of any authorized act within his or her official capacity," under Section 5-31-1 of the Illinois Criminal Code. Although the language of this statute is relatively vague, in the 1968 case of People versus Raby, the Illinois Supreme Court clarified that the term obstruction implies a physical act, and stated that, now quoting, "these terms do not prescribe mere argument with a policeman about the validity of an arrest or other police action, but prescribe only some physical act which imposes an obstacle which may impede, hinder, interrupt, prevent, or delay the performance of the officer's duties, such as going limp, forcefully resisting arrest, or physically aiding a third party to avoid arrest." In the 2004 case of People versus Sinnott, the Second District Appellate Court of Illinois further clarified that, quote, "the act of obstructing or resisting must be in response to an authorized act of the officer, and that requests from members of law enforcement only have legal significance if," now quoting again, "the request was authorized within his official capacity, and the response of the defendant actually impeded an act the officer was authorized to perform." Well, here, although Mr. Baker did repeatedly attempt to walk away from the officers as they were detaining him, whether the officers had the reasonable suspicion necessary to lawfully stop him is questionable at best. Therefore, it is highly unlikely that Mr. Baker's conduct rose to the level of disorderly conduct, and it would be extremely difficult for the Cook County deputies to prove that Mr. Baker physically resisted them in the execution of any lawful duties, considering the fact that they likely did not have the legal authority to detain and identify him in the first place.
What? You got that on camera? What? I'm lying. I'm lying to you.
You're talking.
I'm lying to you. I don't give a f about lying to you. How about a lie to you? Who is you? Who is you? This is racist. You niggas about to make up a fucking charge and getting shot every day.
You don't know me. Sit down.
You don't know me neither.
That's right. I don't call you.
So why the f is you talking to me like that?
I don't call you.
Because I'm black.
And I don't.
You think because you think you got more money than me? You don't. You think you got a better job? You don't.
Sit down.
I travel. I've been on mad flights. 200 flights. All I do is travel this country and work.
Okay. Sit down.
Put your feet in the car.
All I know is that you have disparaged my character from the second that I showed up.
So what are you doing to me? You think I give a f about your character?
Yeah, I absolutely care about my character.
What about my character? What about my character?
Let's go.
What about my character? What about my character?
Put your feet in the
You can stop me for nothing.
To understand when I said you've been disparaging my character from the minute I came.
Get him out. Let's go. Okay.
You want us to follow, Sarge?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
The body cam footage ends here, and as mentioned before, Mr. Baker was taken to jail for both disorderly conduct and obstructing. It is unclear if Mr. Baker has filed any complaints or plans to take any legal action at the time of writing this episode. Overall, the Cook County Sheriff's deputies get an F for detaining Mr. Baker without the reasonable suspicion necessary to do so, failing to maintain a professional demeanor throughout the encounter, and for arresting Mr. Baker and likely violating his constitutional rights in the process. First and foremost, it is important to recognize that there was no legitimate reason that law enforcement officers should have been dispatched to this call or even made contact with Mr. Baker after they were dispatched. A report of a person walking down the street taking pictures does not describe a crime or any conduct that could reasonably warrant an investigation by the police. Although observation can be a legitimate investigative tactic, following a suspect closely while agitating and verbally prodding them, as Deputy Hamilton did in this interaction, is neither the safest or most diligent way to carry out investigative observation, and the deputy could have accomplished the very same mission by remaining at a safe distance without making any direct contact with Mr. Baker. Furthermore, during the encounter, Sergeant Janulus articulated a common misconception that is pervasive in the field of law enforcement, which is that getting a call about a so-called suspicious person is enough to detain and identify the suspect of the call. However, this is not always the case. As mentioned in this episode, reasonable suspicion is required to detain and identify an individual in the state of Illinois, and a report of totally legal activity does not meet the standard of reasonable suspicion. There must be some criminal element associated with the reported conduct. What happened here essentially amounts to Deputy Hamilton showing up and aggravating Mr. Baker until he got upset, and then arrested him for being angry at them. Rather than showing up on scene and immediately making contact with Mr. Baker, Deputy Hamilton could have observed Mr. Baker's conduct from the comfort of his patrol car to determine whether any criminal activity was actually taking place. This interaction highlights the importance of proper investigative training and the appropriate use of discretion while in the field. Mr. Baker gets an A- because although he was somewhat vulgar and assertive, he expressed his dissent without being overly aggressive, made legitimate arguments against the lawfulness of the deputy's conduct, and ultimately complied with the arrest without incident. There is no denying that Mr. Baker was somewhat combative during this encounter, but I believe it was totally reasonable for him to be upset considering the circumstances. From Mr. Baker's perspective, he wasn't doing anything that would warrant calling the police, and it was reasonable to assume that he was being racially profiled, considering that he was in a neighborhood with several homes worth over $1 million and was stopped for literally walking down the street. All that said, Mr. Baker certainly could have benefited from remaining silent as much as possible while interacting with the deputies and not allowing his emotions to dictate how he navigated the encounter. It should be noted that Mr. Baker is not an auditor, and he did not provoke this interaction in any way, and this was considered when assigning this grade. I commend Mr. Baker for getting his emotions in check and complying with what he felt was an illegal arrest, and I hope to see him follow up this interaction through the proper channels. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to pick up your copy of the Civilian Rights Hand Guide in the links below.